Trump's approval rating is almost 80% among
Sure, have a good night, Cracker. Say good night, Cracker.
Good night, Jim.
I lie. That's the new.
36%. You're a liar.
No, among Republicans, sir, I do not lie. Sir, I will say it again. I'll put it in from Newsweek. Trump's approval rating among Republicans is near 80%.
On what, hold on, Aston, hold on. On what issues? Because on the border, I'm sure it's running. The economy can't be, there's literally no way on the economy or the war, it literally can't be that high.
It's overall. It's a Marquette poll.
Put a link in the chat.
I did already. I did it before I said it, yeah.
Hey, January 6th.
April 8th to April 16th.
January 6th.
No.
They went, listen, let me speak. They went into that, listen. They went into that. They went into that. They went into that building and they threatened a congresswoman, Nancy Pelosi.
6 years ago.
They wanted to kill her.
You're still talking about it.
Listen.
No, I don't think they wanted to kill her.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Why did they want? There's no evidence.
Listen. If those are black
No
people
evidence
that
of that.
did that, if that's the black people,
There were black people there.
hold on, let me finish. Listen, it was mostly white. Stop it. MAG is mostly white. And
Right, but there were black people there.
Let me finish. If those are black people that went into that area, defecated the area, pissed in the area.
There were black people there.
No, there was mostly white. Stop it.
Well, so there were black people.
No. 80%.
Land is plain. Go ahead.
80% of the people was maggot, and they was white. If those was black people that dared to do something like that, go into that area, defecated, sitting, trying to kill a congresswoman, they would have put the National Guards and every damn army out there to kill them. It's almost standard that white people have been able to get away. And what did Trump do? He pardoned them. And what did they do? A lot of those guys was child molesters. Now they found themselves back in prison. Those same guys that he pardoned. And this is a joke. This is a joke.
You know, something that I think is pressing that we're not discussing enough is the recent market shift towards BRICS and the yuan. This fiasco in Iran has really kind of screwed us, and our global reserve currency is now trending downwards, and that combined with inflation. I mean, the bond to yield market, I mean, if people are following these things, like, we're literally losing our dollar at an insane rate, like a terrifying rate.
What is your theory? That people are gravitating towards the yuan?
No, well, mostly, so it's not just any one, although BRICS is taking up a larger percentage than was projected, like that did happen, but it's not just any one, it's more so that people are moving away from the dollar. They're shopping, and they're mostly, setting up more international, I'm trying to think of the term, it's not just a trade deal, because for some people, it's like, for some nations, they've just been using the alternative to the SWIFT program. I can't remember what it is, but basically the dollar operates off the SWIFT banking network, and a big part of the logistics was creating an alternative currency transfer system. So they got that established. They're beginning to explore other options. And BRICS is taking up a bigger share of it. It's not just that. It's like a new trend away from the dollar in general. And it's also because the bond to yield market, the individuals are purchasing American bonds. First of all, we don't even like when it happens because it fucks with inflation, but we have to lower the interest. And so now we're getting double binding. Like the demand for the dollar is going down. Well, we need to sell bonds, so we're still getting screwed on that. But it's a game of diminishing returns, and it's actually not even going to be available too much longer. Like it's just 50% of our budget is already just paying interest on our debt. It's projected to go to 20%. Like 1/5 of our money is just paying interest. These are not, and it's going to become a feedback loop that's negative. And then combine that with the fact that we actually, so when you go to the pump and you're looking at those gas prices, that's artificially low. Someone is shorting oil by millions and millions of barrels. So for those who don't know, the short they're saying that oil's going to be worth less than what it's actually projected to be worth, and they're willing to pay for, um, to sell a certain amount of oil at that cost, or they'll take the loss because it'll actually be worth more. It is going to be worth more, but because they're putting so many futures out there shorted, it's artificially lowering the stock valuation of the oil commodity, even though everyone knows there's like the paper value versus the stock value. Without getting too technical, someone is artificially suppressing the cost of oil, and we're still seeing it go up. The real shock is going to happen when we don't get these scheduled tankers. So April 15th was most ports just received a tanker in the U.S. That was the last tanker. So the next time a tanker was supposed to show up and doesn't, boom, that is when the market just get fucking, oh god, bro. It's gonna be so bad. And if people don't understand, it's more than just like the oil, the gas. It's also the natural gas, which we use to produce like I think over 30% of the power in the country. So energy bills, power company, oh god, it's about to get up. Ah!
You do, because right here off the coast of Texas, out of Houston, a lot of oil and natural gas here. They talked about some of the projections out here for drilling into shale rock and all that other kind of stuff to try to open up and get some of that gas that's underneath, but it's not enough. Even, they talked about that. Could Texas kind of help uh, out the country? Yes, we pump oil, but do we pump enough by volume as a state to try to help shore up the country? We don't, and so we do have still dependence on foreign oil just simply because it is easier to produce and sweeter to refine. That's what they talk about out here at ExxonMobil. It's better to refine that oil, and that's why they essentially use that and bring it into this country. It's a lot harder to that sludge and stuff. It's a lot harder to refine that kind of stuff, and so the cost of that can also be passed on to the consumer. They talked about that if they have to switch over to that kind of blend, and even vehicles, their types of blends could also go up in places like California and those kinds of things, just simply because of EP regulations and stuff in California and other places. So those things also affect the cost and what is passed on to consumers. I do try to follow this as well, just simply because of where I live and what Houston and what they're doing to shore up oil here and try to secure it. They've talked about that as well. We need to try to secure as much oil as we can and stockpile it. And so what they've talked about out here in Houston is possibly building one of the largest storages ever built here to help store this oil, but it's going to be a slow process. Until that happens, we don't have enough capacity right now in this country to store oil right now. We need to boost capacity, and that's going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars. They talked about that not only in this state, but other states, to help maybe kick some of the things back online that were shut down, whether refineries. Those are things we need to do and shore up and get that back online. That'll help the refining problems in this country when it comes to oil, and we need to do that a lot better. It'll drop the cost for consumers too. Because it would, and I hope that it does, because storage, whether that be oil or even, shoring up electricity, those two things right there, they go together. For the last 75 years, Texas has had issues with electricity, especially the on-putting of that, just simply because of the equipment we have in our state. It's old. I don't know what to tell people. It's just old. And then the way we refine in our state, we have factories here that are really old. And some of this stuff is not been updated. It needs to be to meet the demands of today. And that is something that they talked about as well, is some of these older refineries retrofitting those refineries so that things can stopping those refineries and taking that CO2 and arcing that CO2 back into the ground, back into the soil, and that CO2 then turns into a stone that is forever captured and it never ever permeates into the earth. So those are ways to lower costs for consumers, but that is several $billion worth of green projects that can help our state in the next century. We need to do these things, whether Republicans like it or not. We have to do it. What's funny? What is funny about what I see? Is there a problem? I'm with that guy. We really do now need to do these things, and in our state, we have not updated a lot of our grid in the last 50 years. We haven't built a new airport in this country, possibly in the last 30 to 60 years. We have not built up our infrastructure. Those are things that will help launch our country in the right direction. I believe that energy and oil is one of those two things that right now still have to balance out. Oil can't go away because there's still dependence on that. You can't solely lean on all green energy. These things have to be combined with the wraparound, with the wraparound effect along with oil. And you can't forget the big one, nuclear. Once you have nuclear in place, then it burns bright, it burns consistent, and it burns when the wind doesn't blow, and it burns when the rain comes. So at the end of the day, we have to shore up all this technology, and micronuclear is the way to go. They have talked about that out here. The reason that is because it's small, it's compact, and you can power several million homes immediately once that is fired. It's better than coal. I just believe that nuclear just because what it can do, and it would take the dependence so much off oil. You can still use it, but let's find nuclear and use that, in extreme like we have in this state. They have talked about nuclear for that very reason, because a lot of people died in this state when the grid failed, and we did not have enough nuclear coming online. We needed that, but unfortunately, we didn't build it and prepare for disasters, and that is what we need to do, and nuclear will help us solve that problem.
At least a market shift towards bricks up the lawn. This fiasco in Iran is really kind of.
Ashton, did you do any research about the water in Corpus Christi?
Hi everyone.
Some of that, I believe, is really budgetary issues. Some of that, I'm trying to look at infrastructure issues, but a lot of it is even just mismanagement issues with projects and allowing these projects to siphon off of that water without protecting the population of people who live there, whether that be building another reservoir that comes, I try to look that town up on the map, and yeah, they could.
Once you are sleeping with a Kardashian, your reputation is tarnished, I think, a little bit. Really, that pilots can get confused and disoriented and not know what up and down is, and now that's a new fear unlocked.
And respectfully, I mean that, bro. Respectfully, I mean that. You just running your side muscle. You mad? No, I'm not, bro. I'm not mad. I said I don't want to, bro. I'm disappointed because I've given you a hypothetical. I'm taking into account. Listen, I'm taking into account your reasons why you might be hesitant because it goes against what you know. That's within the hypothetical. But it's God telling you to do this. And when your response is, shut the fuck up, bro. Shut up, bro. I'm getting tired of your dang nasty ass, booty ass voice. Go shut up. Bro, I'm gonna move you down. I'm gonna move you down. There you go. Shut up. See that? See that? Sometimes you gotta talk over these bitch ass niggas, bro.
Can I say something?
I ain't put him down. I had to tell him shut up. I had to gun at him so he can shut up. Let's be quiet. Let's listen. Let me finish.
But you're saying lies right now.
Ezekiel, shut up, bro. Respectfully, shut up. When I'm done talking, then you can talk, bro. Okay? Okay, please, bro. I don't want to be mean to you. I don't even know you, bro. Anyway, so like I was trying to say, well, nah, Ezekiel, don't let these niggas get you fucked up, bro. Anyway, so like I was trying to, bro. Anyway, so like I was trying to say,
Wait, Ezekiel, how old are you? 18, bro.
No, he not 18, bro.
Let the guy talk, bro. I'm trying to listen to this guy talk. Let the guy talk. You seem a little too young for this.
Put that nigga down, Nathan. You know he's not 18, bro.
you 17, bro?
Yeah.
You 17?
I'm 16, but I actually turned 17.
I told you, Nathan, put that nigga down, bro.
I'm sorry, we gotta kick this
Yeah,
kid
we
out.
gotta kick that nigga. Yeah, we gotta kick
Hey,
him out,
I'm
bro.
sorry, Ezekiel. We'll see you in 2
I didn't
years.
even see, yo, my fault, man. I didn't mean to talk to you that way.
I think this nigga
I
was
did it,
wrong,
bro. I
bro.
thought it was good.
I got it, that man was wrong, bro.
I feel terrible, bro.
That's how I got it. So I'm gonna kill niggas, right?
Right?
You didn't look at his picture, bro. I thought you looked at his picture, man. He was wearing a high school tennis team t-shirt.
Nathan, this is
Oh my
gone.
God, bro. I feel
Nathan,
terrible,
bring
bro. Oh my God.
Bring Ezekiel back. Speak to him, Nathan.
Nah, I
This
can't.
is the Lord your God.
It's all good. It happens, bro. You didn't know, man. Okay.
Not now, before we go to sleep. Because I'm not done with you taking the quick off.
Yo, shut up.
Remember on my
Yo.
My bad.
Nathan. Look, Nathan, man.
Look, let me oh yeah, just 1 second, some more. Let me just look. I'm taking
Yeah, bro. I think Ezekiel kind of left the mark on you, bro.
God, that nigga fucked me up.
Right on his
That's my son's middle name, Ezekiel.
Oh,
It's a great name.
It is. I love that name.
I can tell immediately, I can tell, oh no, this kid's young. Ain't no man.
Yeah, dude, I heard his voice. I clicked on the PTR and the kid's wearing a tennis team t-shirt from like his high school. I was like, oh, fuck, we gotta get this kid out of here. That's why I asked his
oh
age.
yeah, I feel terrible, bro. Shit.
No, it's all
He didn't look at his face.
Who is that?
How the fuck did they
Just some young kid that Nathan beat up. It's nobody special. You know?
he was picking on that little boy. Like, I dare you to pick on that little boy.
And gave him an elbow. He said sometimes I gotta pop off the shoulder.
Wait, about what?
Look, I'm taking into account the Bible, right? I'm taking that into account. This what makes the hypothetical difficult because it's going against what you know. But it's God telling you something. It's like, hey, God, the creator, you know, the all-powerful God,
What are
is
you
telling you to
talking
go.
about?
A hypothetical. What King was afraid to answer. And it's God telling you to do something.
He said he gonna fuck the kid.
Yeah, he said he wanted to do it.
This is weird, bro. Why would you say that again, bro?
So,
Yeah, he said, God said you to do something that you wouldn't do. It's not against God's nature. It's against your understand. What I mean by that is, look, you understand God from what the Bible says.
Are y'all trying to do
Man, bro.
because wasn't there a Bible story exactly like that? Which one was it? That you
It
told
was
that
Abraham,
God.
but he had to.
Yeah, it was Abraham. He told him to kill his like favorite son, and he took him up
His
to the
son, his only
mountain.
son, the one that God.
It was his only son.
no.
Yes, he gave him a promise that he gave him a promise that hey, his son is gonna what we call it, be a
He
child.
said basically, yeah, sacrifice this dude and
Sacrifice to get my game.
and right when he was about to sacrifice him, it was either God or an angel. I'm not so
An
sure.
angel.
It was an angel that stopped him, and
So he didn't do it.
so he didn't do it. But the point was that he trusted God
فرستادم براشون. من شخصا فرستادم به یکی برسه دست خود مشتبه. نه ولی با اطرافیانش. نه با اطرافیانش. چیزی اینجوری نگو همه باور میکنی. ولی فرستادم برای اطرافیان مشتبه. خب این آقا پاش برسه ایران ادامه. پاش برسه ایران ادامه. ببین به اندازه کافی من 2 هفته تو نهر این مادر جنده بودم. 2 هفته. ببین 2 هفته جیزی 2 هفته است. هر روزم شده اش.
What's up, Caroline?
Yeah, honey.
Well, if I could just
It goes back to the Abraham thing. I'll go through some more.
Yeah, I just want this to be like 5 seconds. I just want to point out like why Abraham isn't a good example for this here dilemma. Abraham, because what's being asked of Abraham is well within the nature of God, and that's why he was trusting and had faith to go through with the thing.
Think about it like this. Right?
I'm just telling you like.
No, I'm saying no. I'm telling him he's wrong, but
No.
think about his perspective. Think about Abraham's perspective. Because God gave him a gift.
Yeah, but God never said I would
And
not.
God told him to sacrifice the gift that he gave him.
Yeah, but God never told him prior, I would never ask you, nor will I ever tell you to sacrifice the gift that I gave you. That was the analogy.
I'm not going to analogous.
How is that analogous to my hypothetical?
Because God has given us a criteria. Man,
Yes, so King's been saying this for the past like 3 hours, right? So God has said, I'm not going to do this in the scripture, okay? And you're asking him, hey, well, what if God comes later and says that he's going to do this? And it's like, no, God would never just